Hello once again. Greetings from Waliczka near Krakow, Poland. It's Sunday evening, Sunday the 23rd of October, and yet again I'm starting this upload with a little music that you may or may not be able to hear. I better not play too much of it at this volume. It's not particularly loud, but our daughter Laura is being put to sleep at the moment, so need to be a little careful. If you can hear any of that, that's quite rhythmic actually, this track. I'll turn it down because it's going to distract me as much as anything else. That's a taster anyway of the new album by Nick Mott, and it should have appeared at least a year and a half ago. It took a long time coming, but this is finally out, and I'm shipping them now on Lumberton Trading Company, my other label, which I'll talk about shortly a little. Anyway, here we are, The Fall of the Human Empire. Only 100 of these by Nick Mott, a really prescient title, given that the material on this was recorded in 2019 and 2020, and the album should have appeared late 2020, early 2021, and obviously it appeared pre-pandemic, or sorry, the material was recorded pre-pandemic, and the world kind of going upside down with various other things ever since. So not least the war next door to where I live in Ukraine. Anyway, it's a really, really good album. It includes a booklet of Nick's artwork as well, the same as the cover is adorned with Nick's amazing artwork. And then we've got the booklet inside featuring a number of Nick's collages. Really good. Don't know what you can see there. Back cover, very, to me, maybe not very, but slightly reminiscent of the work by Guy Voucher of Crass, the kind of work that was used to help present Crass's works and some of their label mates' works in the late 70s, early 80s, early to mid 80s. So similar to that in a way, but really, really nice. Nick's work is absolutely fantastic. His music's great, his artwork's wonderful, and it really complements the music well. I also forgot that there's besides the booklet, there's a print, an A4 print inside. Yeah, there we are. So there's also a print. Each one is slightly different. They're thematic, but slightly different. They all feature the same, approximately the same design, but in different sort of positions and slightly different abstract sort of imaging behind the main, what looks like a face, a pig's face perhaps. So and I hand numbered each of those as well in red. There we go. So only 100 of these exist, and orders have been going out for the last week or so, and I guess I'll continue sending out orders for the next week or so as well. And once they've all been fulfilled, I did a count today. I think I'll have fewer than 10 copies left, 8 or 9 copies left here. So if you're interested, get in quick. I only did 100 of these because, well, partly because of the expense of vinyl, and partly because to me it seemed like a realistic amount for no disrespect to Nick's work. Of course, you know, if things went my way, you know, there'd be 100,000 of these going out, but that's not the world we live in. So, given the nature of how I operate and my own limitations, including the space that I have for stock here and everything else, 100 just made sense. And as I've stressed many times before, I do prefer releases that are kind of quick turnaround. I'm happy to, of course, keep stock for a short while, you know, for months or even a year after a release has happened. But I do prefer it when I see all the stock just go, you know, just the piles diminish over a course of a few weeks. For me, it's rewarding to know, excuse me, that these releases, sounding like a pig myself now, just had my dinner, so do excuse me. I find it really nice to see the piles of boxes go down. It's not ideal for every artist, I realise, you know, but that's the disadvantage of working on a small label like mine. You know, I know certain people have storage or more storage space in their homes, but I just don't, you know. So don't want this place to look like a warehouse, and I know my wife certainly wouldn't want it resembling a warehouse either. So I am rather limited with what I can keep here. So and I've already commandeered another room and the attic as well, the loft rather. So yeah, I've got lots of stuff here, but yeah, the sooner it all goes, the better. Anyway, really good album. And again, if you're interested in getting it, there will be a link below, and it's advisable to get in quick because I guess they won't be around for much longer. So, as I said, 8 or 9 copies left, and I think I sent a couple of freebies out, or a few freebies. Certainly 1, 2, or 3 copies to Puppy 38, who did the artwork assembly. Don't know if he's got them yet, but nonetheless, and Sean Organ, who I think did the master. So I think there are a couple of copies on the way to him. But yeah, they mostly sold. A few went wholesale as well. And I think there are 10 copies reserved for Sound Dome in Italy. So although they haven't confirmed that they actually want them. So they did specify a long time ago that they wanted 10 copies of this. Anyway, so yeah, Nick Mott, really good. And another person I hope to be working with again in the foreseeable future. I also put on a live show of his in Krakow years ago when I co-organised a couple of, I can't remember which one he appeared at, but I did 2 mini festivals, like two or 3 nighter events in December, about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, 7 years ago, I can't remember. They were co-hosted by Hayden Berry of Preserve Sound, of that label, which is given to more ambient and singer-songwriter music, orientated music. But yeah, but we collaborated. It was a good. Well, he is a good friend. He was a good friend. He is a good friend of mine, and we collaborated on this on this event called Resource, which is survived by an ailing page on Facebook, I think. And we did this for 2 consecutive years, and yeah, and Nick Mott was one of the people I invited over to appear. Really, really good set. Really nice guy as well. So yeah, again, one of those people I'm always happy to work with on that count alone, really. So love the music, love the artwork, nice guy. Um, all boxes ticked. So so there we go. Yeah, so Nick Mott, that's mailing out. I'm still mailing out a few Grim Humour books. So if you're waiting for the Grim Humour book 2, just bear with me a little longer. But I think I'm on the home run now. I really only have a few copies left to send out. The other thing that arrived a week ago, and I've also been sending out for the best part of a week, is this vinyl. I am the dirt under your fingernails. So CD only on Fourth Dimension this time. Justin K. Broderick of Godflesh and Jeju, and what else? Oh, I've forgotten the other projects he's in. Oh dear, he's in a number of projects anyway. But Jeju I really like. Final, of course, I love as well, and I particularly like. I probably said this before, but I particularly like the Jeju collaborations with Sun Kill Moon, the American duo. I think they are the American group. Really nice music. Anyway, and that's got 9 tracks on, just 1 to 9, named after the title. Quite a lengthy album, quite intense as well, quite immersive. It owes quite a lot to Justin K. Broderick's own beginnings as somebody heavily inspired by power electronics. You know, this kind of avant-garde, intense electronic music that came out in the early 80s and was pushed to the front by Ramley, Whitehouse. Well, Whitehouse were first, but then Ramley and Consumer Electronics, and a number of others as well, of course, around the globe. Worked with similar ideas and took, you know, did their own spin on this kind of form of expression, you know. But anyway, I owe something to that. It's very intense. It's worth cranking up really loud. You know, it's really nice. And once again, Puppy 38 did the artwork for this as well. So another shout out to my main man, designer, layout guy and friend in Vienna, Michael Everett, a.k.a. Puppy 38, the go-to guy for all of your artwork and, you know, design needs for CDs, vinyl, and anything else related. He's done all of the books on Fourth Dimension so far as well. I'm laughing here because when my daughter was here earlier, she started throwing this around. Schizo, the Pete Walker film DVD. Yeah. So yeah, I need to put it back in its in the right place. But yeah, so I was just reminded I haven't done that yet. So I'm just pasting the final CD on top of it. Great film, by the way. Pete Walker's films are all good. And I haven't watched any for a while, but yeah, they come highly recommended. I've got a book on Pete Walker's films as well. I read years ago, and I don't even know where it is. I hope it survived the last move. Can't recall seeing it anywhere. Oh, never mind. Talk about distracted. Like a cat seeing a fly. You know. Anyway, yeah, so final is shipping. Had lots of pre-orders, lots of orders for that. They're still coming in as well. So again, bear with me, please. It's only me, as I always stipulate. It's only me doing this. I do go to the post office every day, unless something gets in the way, like too much work or I've got other commitments, you know, that prevent me from going. But generally, I go every day. The post office near me is only open Monday to Friday anyway, so I go every day. Um, but as I've said many times before, I don't go in there with bags of 100 or more packages, because I absolutely hate being that person. I can't stress that enough. So I go there daily with a pile of 10 to 15, sometimes 20 packages, depending on what they are. You know, already on my desk here, there's a pile of, another three. There's a huge pile on the floor here, but another three that I did prepared earlier, waiting to be addressed, of final CDs. Yeah, and whilst on that topic, sending out CDs and releases, Kleistwahr's Common Values CD will arrive within the next 2 or 3 days, I believe, and I'll be shipping them very soon as well. I thought they would be ready last week, but then it turned out that the labels had not been proofed, or that's what the production people told me. They had. I'd sent an email, but I guess it got lost, as is the want of an email sometimes. But because of that, there was a slight delay, and in a way, it's probably good. Not so good for people who've ordered both Common Values and the final CD, but a number of people have. A number of people have even ordered more CDs on top of that, which is, really nice. But from my perspective, I'm just overloaded with packing orders at the moment. I'm really looking forward to having a little respite from all of this soon, but it won't be that soon, because we've got the AHAD, a.k.a. Zsolt Sores double CD arriving in a week or two, and the Edward Ka-Spel, that's on Fourth Dimension, and then we've also got the Edward Ka-Spel 10-inch on Lumberton Trading Company, due to land, well, any time now, really. I'll chase that up again tomorrow or Tuesday. I had the test pressings. The test pressings were approved 5 weeks ago, maybe. So I imagine the main run will come here very soon. So and then after the Zsolt Sores and Edward Ka-Spel, what's going into production at the moment is the debut, well, at least the debut physical album by London's guitar-based Blue Statue. Really good music. Probably a little. It's going to be a little surprising for people who see, as I know some people do, see Fourth Dimension as a kind of weird electronics or avant-garde improv, post-punk, industrial. I very often get told it's an industrial label. I've never seen it as an industrial label, although maybe a couple of releases have got into that direction, certainly in the past, or a few releases. I don't consider Kleistwahr industrial, and I certainly don't consider, I've done 2 Ramley releases. That wasn't particularly industrial, the last Ramley album, and the single, the 7-inch, it's more pop than industrial. Glam pop. So anyway, to get back to what I wanted to say about Blue Statue, it's guitar driven, and yes, there's a post-punk sensibility to their music, but I've said this before, they're younger guys than many of the people I work with. I think they are, anyway. They look like, sorry guys if you're watching this, but they look like they could be in their 30s, late 30s perhaps, mid to late 30s, maybe early 30s, but they're younger. Because of that, I think they would have been inspired by music from the 90s, like uh, yeah, some grunge stuff as well. So that's kind of in the mix as well. When I listen to their music, I actually I'm a huge Echo and the Bunnymen fan, and I've stuck by Echo and the Bunnymen through thick and thin, a bit like the Cure, really, and Wire, and Public Image. So they're probably and Killing Joke. No, Killing Joke. No, I've not bought their some of their albums that are a little too metal for me, for my taste. But they're probably the main groups that I've always stuck by. And again, through thick and thin, and all of them have released Bilge, but in my opinion. So I don't know who else's opinion it could be, but yeah, so that's what I think. But some of Blue Statue's work reminds me a little of some later Echo and the Bunnymen work, and that's probably partly the reason I like it. It's pretty intense, guitar heavy music, little post punk influenced as well. Obviously, that's there in Echo and the Bunnymen as well, but um, I wanted to do something a little outside what I normally do. And I wanted to fuck with people's expectations as well, because I'm fed up with people saying it's a punk label or it's an industrial label. It's a label that has always done whatever the fuck I like, and if I like something, and I can afford to do it, I'll release it, And I really liked Blue Statue's music. It's as simple as that. So sorry if that already sounds like I'm uh, kind of trying to excuse it. I'm not. I love everything I release. So I think Blue Statue is a perfect makes perfect accompaniment to the Voidfill album that I released at the beginning of summer, which also had a kind of pop sensibility, and it's quite musical, So Blue Statue is a really a nice. It's not the same kind of music, but it does follow on from that interest of mine, And again, I'm not somebody who only listens to, Robert Ashley or I don't know, weird, clunky electronics. Although I like a lot of that, and a recent favourite album of mine that I've been listening to, besides Schrothersberg's latest, that's really good. That's more post-punk inspired, but the Mark Harwood album, whose name I've forgotten at the moment, and I can't even see. It's probably on this little pile here amongst. Yeah, they're all from Mark Harwood, and I've only so far played his latest album. I really like that. That's kind of tape manipulation again. So I like stuff like that. But what was I saying? I don't only listen to stuff like that. I also listen to Leonard Cohen, Echo and the Bunnymen, and stuff like what's on the Blue Statue album. Really good album. Really, really pleased that I'm doing this, and I think that CD, and it's only CD for the moment, will be ready sometime around mid-November, perhaps, and I'll start pre-selling it during the next few days. So I just haven't got round to it. Simply, usually I start, as anybody who knows me will realise, I usually start pre-selling things well in advance, just to help get the interest going, really. And of course, it helps grease the wheels as well, But Blue Statue, I just simply haven't done yet. I've not had time. So, between the Nick Mott album, the final album, the Kleistwahr Common Values album, a couple of other things that are in the works at the moment, including the next Kleistwahr double album, which will be released next year. But I've started pre-selling it. The reissue album. There's also another Kleistwahr CD reissue appearing next year, I think. Double CD or triple CD, I can't remember. I can't remember what Gary and I discussed. I think it's meant to be a double CD, but I proposed a triple. There's also a Splintered album coming, the group that I'm in. that will be happening next year. There's also Sinestra, or Sinestra. I've forgotten how it's pronounced. I meant to check that before doing this upload. But yeah, there's a few things in the wings that I've been kind of working on. But really, after the Zsolt Sores and Blue Statue and Edward Ka-Spel, I want to have a couple of months away from thinking about releases. Really, 2 to 2.5 to 3 months of not thinking about new releases. I want to focus on the Mark Perry book because that's almost ready to go now. I think it'll be ready to go to my friend Mark Stevens for proofreading maybe next week sometime. So I do have a few things sort of boiling in the corner, you know, but I really want to have a sort of short break from thinking about releases and packing orders bloody daily as well. Well, I'm having to pack the odd order that comes in, but you know, when a new release happens, it's pretty intense, and with family and you know, work commitments as well, it's a little bit too much at the moment. I'm not really writing anything at the moment. I love writing. Not that many people read my reviews or whatever, adverse effect, but you know, 50 to 100 people or whatever. But nonetheless, I really enjoy writing, and I don't care how many people read my writing. But you know, it's one of my main areas of interest. You know, so it's what I really derive a lot of satisfaction from. But again, you know, I derive satisfaction from seeing boxes of records and CDs diminish, or piles of books diminish as well. So there is some pleasure there in that. Yeah, I think I've covered everything really. Yeah, I've covered all the new releases. Mark Perry book, as I said, is pretty much on target. Maybe a couple of weeks behind schedule. It depends how long Mark will take with Mark Stevens will take with the proofreading, but I think we're on target to get that to the printer at the end of the year for review copies initially, and then we'll do the main run early next year, which is what I said all along. You know, early next year, even being perhaps February, but in the meantime, you know, copies of the hardback, the limited edition hardback, are being pre-ordered. If you're interested in that, getting quick again. What else? Going to see Ramley next week in Wrocław. That should be good. At the Industrial Festival. So I think that will constitute the 4th gig I've been to this year. Not really getting out much these days. Saw The Cure on Thursday as well. They were really good, actually. I hadn't seen them since 1987. And they surpassed expectations. Really good live. So, and maybe on that note, I should say, as I said on Facebook the other day, people like Ramley and Mark Perry, ATV, and The Cure all form part of the inspiration behind what I do with the labels and everything else. They really do, you know. So I'll always feel, in some weird way, indebted to all of these kind of groups and artists. White House as well. Yeah, and Swans, Wire, a few others. Excuse me. Yeah, and anyway, I think I've rambled. I think we can keep it there at a tidy 29 minutes for a change. I just keep thinking I've overlooked something. I've forgotten something. Probably not. So I think on that note, glass of vino at the ready. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll be back here again in another few weeks, if not sooner, or perhaps when the Kleistwahr CD lands, I'll do a quick upload. Don't think it's possible. Sorry. Okay, I'm finishing. Thanks a lot, and yeah, pre-order links below. Nick Mott Final. Finals also, maybe finals also included in the 7 CD deal. Read about it, take part. Common Values by Kleistwahr will also be included. So 7 CDs for £30 plus shipping, £8. It's nothing. So yeah, and it really helps support the labels as well. So that's where I'll end, as I very often do. And thanks for everybody who continues to support the labels with those direct orders, etc. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Maybe see a few of you in Wrocław at Ramley. So cheers.